Alright, hey everybody, today we're going to be doing a different video. This is going to be just exploring Morrowind out of bounds, or boundary breaking. That's another term for it, but what you see when you turn off collision and you just walk around and you see what's beyond what's the game and the vanilla would let you see. So what I've done is I've turned collision off, and if you want to know how to do these commands, I have console command videos. So check those out. They'll be in the description, but you can see what I've put here. Collision is off and God mode is on. That just means nobody can beat me up. So when you have collision off, I might have to toggle it off again because I reloaded the save. So if you reload your save, it'll turn back on collision. So collision just means you saw I run into the wall, I stop, but now that it's off, I can go through. I can go anywhere. I'm in God mode, so that shouldn't bother me. But most of the time with stuff like this, you're not seeing the inside of the building because that's a different cell. And you have to load the cell to go inside and see it. So that's what inside the buildings look like. This video probably won't be very long because there's not a whole lot that's interesting about Out of Bounds and Morrowind from what I've seen. I haven't looked at every single location, but you just kind of float around and see through buildings and stuff. But there are a couple locations that look pretty unique, and I want to show those. Maybe you'll find it interesting, or maybe if you're building a mod, you might find this helpful to see this stuff from a distance. Like this one. This one's just, you see how the color kind of matches the texture scheme of the cell, which I think is really cool. I don't know if all games do that, but the outside of the cell matches the color palette of the cell itself. I'm not sure if that's other games do that. We can. I did some boundary breaking in Skyrim where you can see the
Is
Imperial
there
City,
something you need?
and I didn't notice that, but I didn't do a whole lot of boundary breaking on Skyrim. So that's Vivek. We're gonna do a couple different locations. We will do. I think I'm a little far from the High Fane, so let's go to the High Fane real fast. And there's not a whole lot here that is like, there's no secrets or anything. It's just interesting to see these cells from a distance. And again, with the color scheme, it's very, very interesting to see how these are put together, the different shapes that make the cell. And you just turn off collision, and this is what you can do. So I'll show you one more thing in Vivek. Sometimes there's secrets or things that you might not be able to see in the vanilla, such as the White Gold Tower in Skyrim. That is hard to see in vanilla. It's not impossible. It's supposed to be there so you can see it, but it's hard to see. But if you go out of bounds, then you can see it better. So some of these don't have like these perfect shapes. Like the bedroom that we went in was a nice rectangular shape. This is a different sort of like worm-like shape. And I don't think this is accessible in the vanilla. It's just extra flooring. I don't know all the special terms for development, but you know what I'm talking about. It's just extra here or there, or it's not always all the way. Like this wall doesn't stretch all the way across because it's not needed. But this just gives you an idea of what it looks like. If you're interested in modding or you're trying to learn how to mod, this might be helpful so you can see how things are put together. So we'll go explore a couple different areas. I'm not expecting to see anything crazy, but we're exploring this for the first time together. So let's go somewhere else. All right, so now we're at Alt Room, and we're gonna do a little bit of exploring in House Rudder territory. And I forgot to mention earlier, but with this toggle off, you can also go through the portal. And the underground is got the same sort of mechanics where the weather's coming through and all that, but there's nothing really down here to see. Sometimes there'll be little secrets hidden where developers didn't take something out that they covered up, but I haven't seen anyone say that they found anything like that in Morrowind. I tried to see if somebody had made this video already on YouTube. I didn't see anything. So I'm not sure. Yeah, look at this color. That's a really cool color. This is a manor hall, I think it's called. I'm not House Redder and girly. I'm sorry, but I think their outfits are cool. So the coloring is really nice in this cell. The outside coloring. Let's go find somebody's. Let's go to the council hall. This is another cool area. We can go, and then the NPCs will just move around above you. I like being able to see the ceiling at a distance, because the House Redoran is probably the best artistic architecture in this whole game, from my perspective. The way that it seems very inspired by Middle Eastern culture, perhaps. That's just a guess. I'm not sure. But that's what it reminds me of. And sometimes they're just basic shapes like this, but there is one that I'll show you later on in the video that is very unique looking, and what inspired me to make this video, where we just take a look at the world from a different perspective. This will give you an inspiration for your mods, or are you just curious about what this stuff looks like? Let's see if we can go really far away and we can see it in its entirety, the shape of the cell. And you can see this in the creation set as well. I think construction set, I think that's what it's called in Morrowind. You can see it. But this is also another good way to see it. Right, now I thought it would be cool to take a look at the Ghost Gate. Out of bounds. You can't touch me. I'm in God mode, but nice try. So, this is the Ghost Fence behind Ghost Gate. From beyond the boundary. I like how it extends way below the ground. It looks really cool. You can't get me here. Stop trying. I'm out of bounds. It looks like a giant sheet of water. I've always liked how this looks. It's easier to see it below, how far it extends below, and we can go a little high too, but that's just like levitating in the vanilla. But we'll go a little high and see it from a far distance, but it's really cool to see under the ground how far things go. And how it was designed in its entirety, even if you can't see all of that. Kind of like a sketch underneath a painting. You can't. I'm going right through you. I'm going right through you. See you later. That goes all the way around. I think I'm gonna assume that this goes all the way the same. Like maybe they just like copy pasted it all the way. Let's see. can't come down here. Stop. Yeah, it looks like it. But some of it goes a little further down than other parts, which is interesting. Because it doesn't have to be perfect when nobody's gonna see it, right? Well, nobody that's not a nerd like me that's going digging through this stuff, but yeah, so that's the ghost fence and ghost gate. We'll go somewhere else now. Alright, I'm a little biased, so I'm gonna give my friend Baladas a visit at his home in Ardstraelenisis. So we're just gonna see what this looks like from beyond the walls. I like the color again. It's a really cool color. I don't know if other games do this. I have to do a boundary break or out of bounds of Skyrim and see if Skyrim has this color palette that matches the cell like this. Every cell seems to have a different color palette that complements it. I've always really liked this architecture of his house. It's not a typical Tabani tower. You can see the dungeon and then the spare bedrooms. But I wonder where this color is coming from. Maybe the lighting in his main room, perhaps? Because we were in a bedroom earlier that had a different color. It had a more muted brown. Even though the colors in this room and the colors in that room are kind of the same. Maybe it's his light right here? I'm not sure what determines the color outside the cell.
Greetings, Outlander.
But
Don't I know you from somewhere?
or maybe the rug. I'm not sure, but it's really cool to see that. And we can go all the way up and just take a look at it from really far away so you can see the layout a bit better. But it doesn't show you the second floor. Because there's a floor underneath Baladas, I think. It's got skeletons and stuff in it. But yeah, that's the basic layout of this building. Alright, now we're going to explore a Talvani Tower, a traditional Talvani Tower. We're going to give Master Neloth a visit and see what his place is looking like. He's got a more muted gray for his. And I think... Where is he at? I see you. I see you. That's not Neloth, though, is it?
So good to see.
He might be in a different area. I don't know if he's in a different cell entirely. He might be. Because this doesn't seem to show him. Let's see if we can find him. I think he might be in a different cell. Not the Great Hall. So he's up here, right? So if you open up a door, that's a different cell. Upper tower, yep. So he is probably way up here. Some of these have interesting shapes to them. You see the top of the tower. There's another door right here. Is this a... That's just a trap door. He's around here somewhere. We'll find him. There he is. What are you doing? Whatever you want, the answer is no.
May you find all that you seek, traveler.
Well, I sought your friendship, and you didn't want it, so I guess I'll just go into the ether. Alright, now that Neloth rejected my friendship, we're going to do an exploring of Telvas, which is more unique of a Telvanni tower in that it's surrounded by imperial architecture. So the easiest way to just go out of bounds here, outside gameplay capabilities, is just to go through the floor and see it from beyond the surface. And there's water under here, which is interesting, but you can see how it's structured below. And Seeing it from above is easier with levitation and such, but it doesn't look like much of anything from below. But it is a little more interesting than some other places. We'll see if we can find Aryan, and we'll take a look at him, and then I'll show you one more Tavani place, and then we'll maybe do a few more after that. But you get the picture by now of what these cells look like beyond the boundary, and now you know how to do it yourself. Oh, this one's completely black. That's interesting, isn't it? I don't think I've seen a completely black screen outside the cell so far. But you can see this shape is a little more unique than what we've seen before. This is just Aryan's chambers. And he's got an Imperial banner. I never noticed that before. I don't know where I've been at all this time. I never noticed he's standing in front of an Imperial banner.
May you find all.
Which is interesting. I never know. How the hell did I not notice that until I broke the boundary? That's funny. It's a new way to look at the game and how it's structured, and it definitely helps inspire you to see how these pieces come together. So this is another indoor cell, and I'll show you the next one that will be probably the most unique one that I've come across so far and actually inspired the video. Alright, so now we're in the Tavani Council House in Sadras Mora, and this is probably the most unique looking cell that I've come across in the entire game. And this cell actually inspired this video because I showed this cell when I was teaching how to do console commands, and when I taught how to turn off collision, I used this cell as an example. And I saw how interesting it looks outside of the boundary, and I thought, well, that could be its own video. So we have all these crystals. It's a pretty iconic area from the game. I don't hear the crystal sound, but I don't know. I don't hear it this time, but pretty color. But when we go way out, you look at it, it's like a spear. And it's like a perfect spear, and you can see the crystals, where the crystals kind of extend out of bounds, the way that it was pieced together. And I had a really good angle on this when I did my collision video. I think I was on the other side, because it had a really unique look to it, with all these sort of pearlescent, that might be a word for it, colors, and how the actual crystals kind of jut out of the spear. I never thought of it as a spear, but it makes total sense for this to be a spear when you look at it from this angle. So yeah, this is what inspired the video. I really do enjoy this one. This is probably my favorite cell in the whole game because it's so aesthetically pleasing and it's very unique. It's got a very whimsical look to it. Very old school fantasy look to it. And it still looks fantastic even outside of the bounds. Alright, now we're gonna explore an ancestral tomb. So this is the Aryan ancestral tomb in the Ashland. So we're just gonna go out of bounds. It's the same pattern. You'll notice the same pattern over and over again. We can see the rooms and the hallways, but I thought I'd show a couple dungeons since we've done all the other types of buildings. And the basic structure of a tomb. And you can see the little people, or where they ghosts, running around in there. And all these tombs look pretty similar throughout the game, so once you've seen it, you've kind of seen them all. So yeah, that's what it looks like from a distance. The Ancestral Tomb Dungeon. Alright, so now that we've done an Ancestral Tomb, we'll do a Dwemer Ruin, and this is the ruins with the dreaded Dwemer puzzle cube in it. This ruin has a couple of different cells in it, so this is the cells of the Hollow Hand. Do Dude, you can't. I'm in God mode. It's the same sort of structure for all of these. This one has multiple areas, so it's not all visible at this angle, but it's interesting how these two are separated. If I go back into the world, I'm not sure if they're accessible in the same area. Let's see. Nope, that's a different cell. That's interesting that that particular room is separated from the other room. Where's the door? The door disappeared? Oh my gosh. But yeah, this is a different area. You can see this is the Hall of Centrifuge. And we started out in the Hollow Hand Hall, and it had a couple rooms that were disconnected. But this is just the dormer ruined. The staircases that go up. And don't ask me to find the cube because I still won't know where it's at. Right, to wrap up the video, we'll do some DLC locations. So this is Mournhold on the mainland of Morrowind in the temple courtyard. It's got the buildings, the architecture has always been really cool around here. But we go under, we're actually in water. Which I didn't know that there was water around here, actually. I didn't. Is there water around here in the visible area? I don't see any, actually. Oh, here it is. It's over here at the very edge. So we'll just go beyond the wall because this was a very enclosed area in the DLC. We can see that it's water surrounded by a wall. I don't know how much you could levitate here in the base game. I never really did a lot of levitation in the DLC on Mournhold, but this is the temple courtyard. We'll go underground a little bit and see what we can see under the water. It seems like it's a very enclosed space, that the water just surrounds it entirely, that there's no land outside of the wall. Yep, that's what it seems like. You can't touch me, I'm in God mode. I like the sounds in this area. We'll check out the temple, and then we'll do Solstein, and then that'll be the end of the video, because you got the idea. We just do a couple interesting locations. So, now you know how to do it. You're going to do it for yourself. Reception area. I like the patterning on this floor and the reception area. It's very cool from a distance. You don't really see this from the ground level perspective, which is cool about going out of the bounds and seeing the cells in this way. You see how everything was pieced together by the developers. It makes it easier for people like me that have a hard time visualizing shapes to see how something like this would be put together in the construction set, because I have a very hard time visualizing shapes in my mind for some reason. So yeah, this is Mournhold, and next we'll go to Solstein. Alright, so when we go to Solstein, I discovered something really interesting. I just did center on cell, which is the way you teleport around with the console. I typed in Solstein, and it's not really what I expected to see when I type in Solstein, center on cell of Solstein. This is what you see. I have no idea. I was not expecting that at all. Just this statue when you go to the center of cell of Solstein. It's just a statue of a werewolf. So I thought that was very interesting to add to the video because when I tried to set up the next part, this is what I found. So we're on Solstein. This is Raven Rock. And we can just go below the ground as usual. Just look around at all the trees and how cold everything is. What's interesting about console commands for Raven Rock, or rather Solstein, is that when I did the console command for Mournhold, I typed in Mournhold, comma, Temple Courtyard. But for Solstein, you don't type in Solstein, comma, Raven Rock, you just type in Raven Rock for the console command. You can see how I put Solstein, Raven Rock, and it could not find that cell. The cell is just simply Raven Rock. Just a little note that I discovered while making this video. But you get the idea at this point. We're just wandering around a little bit in the DLC. And now that you know how to do it, you can just go look at whatever you want to look at and see if you can find anything interesting. So everything below is water. Lots of trees. So yeah, that's about all. If you want me to do another video of this, feel free to let me know. I know not everyone has access to the PC version, so if you want more of this, you find it interesting, just let me know what locations you'd like me to go to, and we can do a second part of this if you want. Oh, there's the ship in the distance in Fort Frostmoth, so we can keep doing this. I don't mind doing another video of this. It's just I don't want to get too redundant because we've seen everything, the basic structures of everything. But if there's somewhere specific you want me to go visit, feel free to let me know. So yeah, thanks for watching.